So take me away, I don't mind, but you gotta promise me we'll go back in time. Hello, and welcome to number 3 of 3 of our outdoor podcast recording of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, the podcast where this time Matt and Todd went to Benji's Drive-In Theater and we saw 2 movies. And we're going to talk about the second movie, we're going to rate it, we're going to have fun, and hopefully you do too, and then you like us afterwards. My name is Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy, and yes, welcome to another edition of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies. Today, we're going to talk about the movie called Back to the Future.
Yep. Ba, ba, ba. Ba, 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 ba.
Yes, the classic soundtrack, the classic theme from Back to the Future. And I noticed that you did pick a song from the movie itself this time.
It just seemed like the only option.
Yeah.
It's just such a classic song. It's so good.
I support
it is played
this choice
many times during the movie, and every time it's played, I'm like, I'm into it.
Yes.
Let's finish the song.
Nice. So yes, we'll talk about that in a minute, but first, a word from our sponsor. Excuse me. That sponsor is the Santa Fe Writers Project, or SFWP for short. Today, I want to tell you about one of the books published by SFWP called We All Scream. This book is actually written by the founder and director of SFWP, Andrew Gifford. It's a memoir that details the rise and fall of the Giffords Ice Cream Company and the family behind it. Some of you from the DC area may remember Giffords. I have read it, and it really will keep you turning page after page to find out what happens. I highly recommend that you check it out. And SFWP is offering 25% off to all of our listeners when you order direct through their website, sfwp.com. Just use the coupon code MOVIES when you check out. This applies to We All Scream or any of their other great titles. Thank you, Santa Fe Writers Project, for helping make the magic happen here at Matt and Todd Go to the Movies. Everyone go support a small business and buy some books.
Do you think Andrew likes to go by Andy?
He does not.
Okay. Don't call him Andy then.
Yeah.
Listeners.
I've known Andrew for a long time. Met him on the pre-internet bulletin board system.
Nice.
Where you would use your modem and dial up. Some listeners may remember the America Online days. Mm-hmm. This predated those. Yeah. So, anyway, we are going to talk about Back to the Future today. The first of a trilogy of movies that if I'm recalling correctly, were all made at the same time.
I think pretty similar. I'm not sure if 3 was made at the same time, but 1 and 2 definitely. A lot of stuff was filmed together.
Gotcha.
I could be wrong though, but I feel like 3 was just not done at the same time, but they had a strong idea of what they wanted to do.
Right.
But I'm very easily wrong here.
Yeah. Well, I'm no expert about this film or the trilogy, but I will say that if you haven't seen it, it's another classic.
Definitely.
We saw at Benji's Drive-In.
Benji's!
First movie that we reviewed was E.T. from that night, and then the second feature of the night. By the way, you can get into Benji's Drive-In for $10 per person.
Yes.
It's really a good deal. I'll just put in a little plug for Benji's because
maybe they're listening. You never know.
It's a good place to go to watch a movie.
Yeah, $15 for like a car pass where you can bring all the snacks you want and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Matt and I brought Chipotle.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone from Chipotle is listening, but we would love a new sponsor from Chipotle. Or I would just take some free food every once in a while. I'm not greedy.
Right. Yeah, good points all. So go check it out. Sometimes they even have, I think, twice a year, Memorial Day weekend and Labor Day weekend, they do dusk till dawn shows where they show 5 movies.
Never,
and it's still $10.
Never have I made it successfully through. I've only attempted once, actually. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, never made it through.
So, Back to the Future. If you haven't seen it, it is about a kid named Marty McFly right? Yes.
Correct.
Yes, thank you.
Off to a great start.
Yes, got the main character's name right. Played by
Michael J. Fox.
thank you. I'm not going to try and get any more of the characters in there.
I got you covered.
Yes, Michael J. Fox is the main character, Marty McFly. He has a friendship with sort of a mad scientist character played by
Christopher Lloyd.
Yes, and as it turns out, Doc Brown, who's Christopher Lloyd's character, invents a time machine. And through a series of wacky events,
Terrorism.
Libyan terrorists on the scene, cause Marty McFly to be transported back in time in a DeLorean car time machine back to 1955. And so most of the movie takes place in that setting. So you get a little bit of 1985 boy in a 1955 world, and he interacts with his parents,
Played by Lea Thompson and Crispin Glover.
Yeah, thank you for that. And so the movie's kind of about, well, how's he going to get back to 1985? There's like a power source problem. He doesn't have any plutonium, which is what the car runs on, or the time machine runs on. And also there's this problem where he may have affected time and caused his parents not to fall in love. So
Sure.
that has
Caused
to be
his mom to fall in love with him.
right, which is weird to think about. But that's what they did with this movie, and so we'll go with it.
It was cheeky and fun in 1985.
Right. So yeah, that's the movie in a nutshell. If you haven't seen it, what did you think of this viewing, Todd?
Well, this is definitely a classic, like we've already said. I think it's a very good classic. There's like if I was a college professor and I taught film or whatever, this film I would use to teach and try to teach and get people to understand foreshadowing, because there is so much in the first 10 minutes of this movie that is just foreshadowing the rest of the movie, and even foreshadowing the next movie, and maybe even the third movie if they're all connected. I mean, I would have to do another viewing and really pay attention, but I mean, there's just stuff set up in the first 10 minutes that plays out through the whole movie, plays out through the next movie too, and it's just incredible to watch. So yeah, I think it's incredibly well acted. Michael J. Fox is great. Christopher Lloyd is super good, I think, as Doc Brown. Even the parents, Lea Thompson and Crispin Glover, are good. Crispin Glover is his character's just weird, but he also seems like a weird dude to me anyway, so it probably just fits. Interesting point about the Back to the Future series, which we're all about our interesting facts here.
Yes.
Is that Crispin Glover is not in the second one, but they hired a person who looked like him.
Interesting.
Because there were some contract disputes, so they made this film, the second one, around the fact that this guy looks like Crispin Glover and he's playing the same character and stuff like that. Crispin Glover then sued the movie studio for character infringement, or I don't know what the actual legal term is, but they basically used his likeness without his permission.
Interesting.
And won.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know how much he got paid out, but that's why you don't see him. That's why you see a guy in 2, but you never see his face or anything like that. It's because they want you to believe it's Crispin Glover, but it's not. Anyway, back to the first one, which is why you guys are here.
Yes.
There are some things, and I don't know. I'm going to try to put this delicately. There are things in this movie that have not aged well, like possible date rape. Is a little uncomfortable. Should have been uncomfortable back then, but hey, we've progressed and we've grown up and we've grown as a society. It is definitely a little hard to sit through now. So that's kind of hard. I think wisely they tiptoed, and this is a point for the movie, is that for a 1985 kid to go back to 1955, they kind of just stepped over racism, which
Yeah.
I think was probably a smart move. There's only like one line where someone's like, says something like a black mayor, that'll be the day or whatever. And then it turns out that the guy is the mayor in the future. So it's like kind of like a ha-ha moment. So
Right.
I think it did a good job of kind of like stepping over that gray area, but then it kind of fell into this possible date rape area that
Right.
a little hard, and a little uncomfortable, but it's not like a complete subtraction from the movie. It just,
I mean, they definitely show a sexual assault.
yes. So, yeah, I don't know what to say about that, but they do. So, the only other character we haven't talked about yet is the character of Biff, who's the bully, who I think I told someone this a long time ago that I think Biff, through the 3 Back to the Future movies, I'm not sure if the character is more fleshed out in cinema than Biff, because you see him young, old, rich, Wild West. Like, you see this character Biff in almost all sorts of life.
Right.
And it's just incredible to me. So, I thought I don't know the actor's name, unfortunately. He does a really good job of just being a typical big bully. And then in the old background, you got Billy Zane as one of his henchmen that, who kind of gets somewhat famous. He's only famous for me because of Zoolander and maybe The Phantom. So, anyway, this movie is, I think, incredibly well acted. I think, I would imagine, I don't know this for certain, but I would imagine this is one of those movies that's fun to do because you've got different characters that get set in different times and you get to play them different ways. And there's just a lot going on in this movie that might be fun as an actor. Maybe it's taxing, but I would imagine it'd be fun. Story is still strong. I think acting is still strong. The sexual assault is a little uncomfortable, but, it could have been a lot worse, I guess. I don't know if that's right to say, but anyway. So, I still love this movie. I think I'll always love this movie. Everyone does a really good job of it. There's certain things that, almost like E.T., you could pick apart, but it's just such a nice, good ride. Not many truly bad moments in this movie. So, I still love it. I'll always probably love it. I don't know if that'll ever change, so I'll just end it there. If you haven't seen this, and you should see it. If you've seen it, it's been a while, definitely watch it again. If you saw it yesterday, why not watch it tonight? You probably got the night open.
Yeah.
Matt, what did you think?
And I'll mention that all 3 movies are currently on Netflix.
Very true.
So you could watch the whole trilogy and see how they all mix together.
What are you listening to us for?
Get off of this podcast and go watch some movies. No, don't do that. Listen to us, then watch the movies. So, Back to the Future, great. Loved it. I mean, the intricacies and you mentioned the foreshadowing, and if you were a film professor, we actually have a film professor who listens to our podcast.
Ooh.
Or has in the past at least.
Uh-oh.
So shout out to Lonnie Martin if you're listening.
I hope he
professor
agrees with me, or I'll be crushed. I don't know.
Well, if you have feedback, Lonnie, you can feed it back through me or on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
And tell Todd that he's
Just
a bad film
don't
critic.
be too brutal. I don't know if I can take it.
But yeah, this is a great ride. Again, it was a great pick by Benji's Drive-In to put this out with E.T. paired. Both great movies, and I really enjoyed just the thoroughness and the attention to detail you get with the time traveling movie, where you get to see things one way and then you get to see them how they were in 1955, and then you get to see potential changes that happen as the characters come back to the present. So really enjoyable. The acting's great. The story is very well done, and when you consider this is just like the sort of the opening saga from this trilogy of movies, They had to dot their I's and cross their T's to get this setup movie out there, and it's great.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm going to say about it. Is go see it if you haven't.
Well, there's only. I mean, I guess you could have a couple of different options, but to me, there's only one thing for this rating system: is how many DeLoreans do you give this? Seconded only by the flux capacitor. How many flux capacitors you give this? But I'm gonna go with the DeLorean because, darn it, DeLoreans still look cool even nowadays to me.
Agree. I respect that choice. So 0 to 5 DeLorean time machines. I'm gonna go with a high rating. I'm gonna go with 4.5. There was, other than the uncomfortable sexual assault, which does get interrupted and stopped. It still happened, but I think in general, Lea Thompson's character got over it fairly quickly.
Yes.
I don't know
if there was much
person,
trauma.
Right.
So doesn't mean it's right, even though there's no trauma.
Correct. So, we're against sexual assault here on Matt and Todd.
I know that's a bold stance, but we're ready to make it.
So yeah, 4.5 DeLoreans out of 5 for me, and go see it. Go watch them all.
This is a hard one. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with my gut. My gut was at first 4.5 as well. I think what I'm learning about myself as we review some of these older movies is that if it's an older classic and I still love it, 4.5 is my benchmark. Like 4.5 for E.T., I believe I was 4.5 for Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's just if it's a classic and I love it and it's, I don't watch it and go, what the heck was I thinking? It's been so long.
Right.
Probably going to land on a 4.5. But everything about this movie, besides a little uncomfortableness, is fantastic. And I'm sad that I don't... Well, maybe the other movies will pop up on our Netflix list, if, But who knows? Maybe in a couple weeks we'll be going back to the theater. I don't know.
Let's hope so.
So, yeah, that's where I'm landing.
Okay. Well, that's going to wrap up this episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, where we reviewed Back to the Future. We had the same rating, so our average rating is also 4.5 DeLoreans out of 5. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you will listen again to another episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies.
Da 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 da
Da da
da da da
da da da.